CNBC Africa's Bronwyn Nielsen spoke to Chichi Maponya, chairperson of Brand SA, about the relationship between South Africa and China. Let's take a look.
You know, China and South Africa have a very special relationship, the comprehensive strategic partnership that the two countries have, and of course China being South Africa's largest trading partner currently. So we see the relationship strengthening, and yes, going through turbulent times at the moment, but I think there are more opportunities of looking at other pockets within the partnership where we can strengthen the relationship between the two countries.
Do you think that with the BRICS grouping and South Africa being firmly part of that grouping, we are starting to see rewards coming from the broader relationship across Brazil, Russia, India, China, and of course South Africa?
Specifically with China, yes, I think we are beginning to see those results. On a lesser extent with Brazil and Russia also strengthening. India through the IPSA relationship and of course BRICS as well. There are strong relations, but there are more opportunities there around the health sector, around the entrepreneurial space, you know, so there are a lot of opportunities that we are seeing within the BRICS formation.
You mentioned India and IPSA, and specifically with a focus now on India being the bright spot with 7.5% growth forecast for this year. In fact, the Prime Minister Modi is saying 8.1% to 8.5% growth. We must be looking keenly as South Africans to that territory and unlocking further opportunities.
Absolutely. You know, when you look at the commodity space here in China, one then needs to look at diversifying first within China and within our sector as the economy cluster. But also then looking at other BRICS countries and see how we can leverage the partnership and close the gaps in those areas where in the resource and commodity space we are seeing job losses and potential job losses. But then that could possibly be replaced or strengthened by the relationship with India. India's growth is good news for South Africa indeed.
And Chichi, just in terms of South Africa, the rand is under pressure, but that's in line with all emerging market currencies right now. Have you got any thoughts on the rand? I know that it's impossible to forecast going forward, but does it concern you? Is it concerning investors that you are engaging with?
You know, the volatility of the rand, as you rightfully say, is a global issue. But then it works for other sectors for South Africa, for tourists. We are now very attractive as a destination for tourists, and we are hoping that we will increase that because we had suffered a little on the back of the perceptions around Ebola and how that was managed and where exactly in Africa Ebola affected. But I think on the tourist side we should hopefully see the spin-off of the rand exchange.
And also on exports and manufacturing?
Of course, definitely, yes, on exports and manufacturing that should strengthen, and South Africa should be viewed as attractive for now in terms of the exports. The balance of payment should be looking good.
And just finally, are you seeing the South African delegation growing in strength at the Summer World Economic Forum here in China year to year?
So slowly, yes, we are seeing it growing. It's more the companies rather that have relations with China that we are seeing. But the interest has been with Africa and with Davos. But I think the Chinese partnership also is growing in terms of the South African delegation that comes to with China.